What's up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in again with me today on another episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. I'm going to be talking to you today about exactly what happens to a person when they pass away in prison, okay? I've done a little bit of research on it, but for the most part, I learned it from someone in prison that I knew that was going to die. And he gave me all the input on it, but I did research it to make sure that it backed up to what he said. Prison, most people don't ever think about people in prison, let alone them dying and what happens to them. But it's actually a very tricky process, okay? Let's just say, let me go ahead and tell a story of the person that I know who personally died in prison and told me exactly what was going to happen to him after he died. There was this guy, he was my cellmate, this older white guy. He was about 60 years old, and he was tatted from head to toe. He had, his whole head was bald, his whole head was tattooed spider web on his whole head. Not his face, but just the top of his head was nothing but a spider web. And he was one of the nicest guys I met in there, actually, believe it or not. He was a part of some kind of white gang. But I didn't really dive into that with him. I just got into prison. He was one of my first cellmates. But anyways, long story short, this guy, he was having stomach pains for a long time, and he always complained to me about it. He thought it was ulcers and whatnot, but he went to the doctor, and this guy was walking around. He was even playing softball. He was doing other things. But his stomach just killed him at night. It was killing him. He didn't get much sleep, but when he did, it was just something that he thought would go away. One night his stomach was hurting so bad that he had to go to the doctor. And he thought it might have been like his appendix or something, but he was gone for a good 12 to 13 hours. And when he came back to the cell, you could see, I saw he was coming in with a brown bag or a black trash bag or whatever, and he was going to start packing all of his stuff. So when he came into the cell to pack all his stuff, I went upstairs. I asked him what was going on. I said, what's wrong, man? Why are you leaving? And he told me, he said that the doctor gave him 2 months, 2 to 3 months to live. He had cancer. I don't know what stage it was, but this guy was actually walking around eating, playing sports with cancer and had no idea about it. When he came back, he said, I got like 2 or 3 months to live, man, hopefully. And I was in complete shock how someone could be active like that and only have 2 to 3 months to live. It's really strange how cancer works. But he did tell me some stuff that would happen if it came down to it. Usually when someone dies in prison, okay, if they have loved ones, they will definitely contact your loved ones to find out what they want to do with the body and whatnot. But there's also times when they don't have family at all. And this is true as well because I knew someone that worked in the graveyard for that prison, okay. Each prison has kind of a private graveyard with it usually has unknown burials for people that don't have family or whatnot. If they wish to be buried, they will be buried, but they will have an unmarked grave. Unless the family takes their body, buries it themselves, and makes their own tombstone, whatever the case may be. This guy did have a lot of family, so he was sure that they were going to be able to take care of his body properly. Now, if you don't have family, like I said, and you die suddenly, and they can't get a hold of any loved ones or anything of that nature, they will put you in an unmarked grave, or they will put you into scientific, donate your body for scientific research or whatever the case may be. And I'm sure that happens a lot. But this death thing, people do die all the time in prison. And I remember it wasn't just him. I remember seeing old people just disappear. The next day they'll be gone. And I'll hear from other people that they're gone. They died and there's no coming back from that. They got out of their penitentiary sentence a little early. So, you know, people do die all the time in prison, and it's very complicated. I've seen people tell me that they didn't even contact their loved ones until a couple days after they died. You know, their loved ones had no idea they were even sitting on their deathbed, and that is, you know, your property of the state. When you go to prison, you're state property, okay? The state pays that institution money to make sure that you stay alive and live in that prison, okay? So, I mean, a lot of your rights and stuff are taken away when you go to prison. You're just a number, and people don't understand you really are just a number. You're like a piece of cattle, and if you do have money and assets and stuff like that, I suggest you, and you do have a lot of time or a life sentence, I really suggest that you get your stuff in order. But I'm sure people with a lot of assets and stuff like that, collateral, whatever you want to call it, they take care of it. You know, usually people that have all that stuff are smart and they know what to do as soon as they get into prison with all this stuff. But, you know, another thing is, you never know when your ticket's going to be up. You could be walking around with cancer right now and have no idea. There's this show called Spartacus. It was about a Spartan. Wait, was it a Spartan? No, I don't know if he was a Spartan, but it was about this guy named Spartacus, and he was a gladiator. But the original show that came on, this guy that was playing Spartacus, he was completely fit, man. A young guy, like 28, 26. Go ahead and Google it. And I watched every episode, and then all of a sudden, the next season, it was a different guy playing Spartacus. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. This guy's nothing like the first guy, man. This guy's lousy. I turned out liking him a lot, though, after I got used to him. I hate it when people change characters mid-season. But this first guy, he was awesome. He was a spectacular actor, and he played Spartacus amazingly. And if y'all haven't seen that show on Netflix or whatever, I suggest you go binge watch it. Spartacus. It's amazing, man. About gladiators. Great movie. But this guy was super young. Super young. He died of cancer. And he was fit. He was cut up. He went to the gym on the regular. He didn't smoke. You never know when your time's going to be up, man. And cancer's funny. You know, my uncle died of cancer, and he had stomach pains as well. Rest in peace, Ozzy. But he died so quick, man. I'm talking about, like, within a month or two, he lost all his weight, and he just died. And cancer is a scary, scary thing because it will come upon you faster than you think. So always keep that in mind, man. You never know when your ticket's going to be up. And people in prison better get your stuff right, because the food that they serve us, even though I do enjoy a lot of the trays, it's not that healthy. And you never know what could happen, okay? Or let alone getting stabbed up by someone when you ain't looking. You could die at any time in prison. So make sure you get your stuff straight before something like that does happen, and you want your loved ones to be able to know what to do when you pass away. And, you know, like I said, you ain't got to have a life sentence. It could be just a 5-year sentence. You never know what could happen within those 5 years. You don't want to be buried in an unmarked grave. So, yeah, that's what happens when you die in prison. Either you go in an unmarked grave by the state. And, you know, I had a friend that worked in this, and he literally was digging graves for these people that had no loved ones. They don't get no tombstone. They don't get nothing. They just bury them in the ground and keep it moving. They might put a little cross there, but eventually they'll take it down. Now, if anyone out there has had a loved one die in prison or jail, feel free to leave a comment and let me know exactly what happened and how they handled the situation. But just keep in mind, you know, you are property of the state when this happens, okay? I mean, you are literally a number. Now, another thing I want to talk about, someone keeps asking me about it, what happens in prison when the lights go out? let me tell you, there's two different types of prisons, okay? You got cells, and there's another type of prison. You know, cells is when you usually got a roommate or you're single cell. Another prison is called dormitile, you know, where 100 bunk beds will be in this one big hangar-like building, and everyone sleeps together at night, and there's no cells or no bars holding you in. It's just dormitile. You're sitting inside a dorm. And that's usually when the action starts at night, and is when dorms are there. But at night, when there's cells and it's just you and your bunkie, there's really not much going on. You might play some cards, stay up late, watch TV, listen to the radio, pass notes from cell to cell. But there's really not anything going on. They might light up a J or smoke a cigarette or something as soon as they get in the cell. But most of the time, all the action happens in dorms. And that's when everyone's together. And, you know, a lot of stuff goes on at night in dorms, okay? People get robbed. I've seen people crawl on the floor underneath bunks to get to other people's bunks just so they can break into their lockers and take everything they got. I've seen people sabotage people's toothbrushes and pillows with nasty, nasty things so they can wake up next morning and watch and laugh as these guys sleep on their pillow, that they put nasty stuff on it. Or their toothbrush will brush their teeth after the guy done sabotaged the toothbrush. So when you're in a dorm, you better be sure to lock up all your stuff. I know you can't lock up your pillow, but you can definitely put a blanket or something around it, and you can tell whether or not someone's messed with your pillow by the way you folded the blanket, stuff of that nature. But also that stuff that happens in dorms. We had fight nights. I remember there was fight nights every Thursday in this place called Deep Meadows. People would actually gamble on fights, and it was they would wrap their hands in sheets and they would box it out in the shower. And it was completely they're all willingly doing it. The good bets was when it was rival gangs or something like Bloods and Crips, and you know, it was all for fun and money. And that happened at nighttime. Also at nighttime, you know, people turn up, man. The young bucks, they'll crank their freaking stereos as loud as they can. Listen to that 50 Cent, that Jeezy, stuff like that. And they get down, man. They'll start smoking their joints, gambling. You know, the dorm that I was in, when they turned the lights out, they didn't make you sit in your bunk. People were walking around till 1, 2 in the morning. It wasn't until about like 2 or 3 in the morning where they start making people get to their bunks. But usually people are asleep, going to sleep around then. They're on a schedule. You're kind of like in a school. Everyone has a schedule. I know I used to go to sleep at like 11 every single night. I'll wake up at 5:30 every morning. And I kind of follow that schedule here at home to this day. So yeah, when stuff goes out, when the lights go out in dorms, it's party time. When the lights go out in cells, it's usually, you know, good time for you and your cellie to really connect and talk about the day or whatever drama might be going on. So yeah, there you go, man. I hope you enjoyed that little information about the lights going out. And also, I want to say, you know, I got a link now in my description. I got an Etsy page, so you can get your own t-shirts, deathibring t-shirts, Lockdown 23-in-1. And don't forget, you know, I got a GoFundMe as well if you want to support this channel in any kind of way. You don't have to be obligated to do it. I'm just asking for anyone that wants to show their support and love for this channel. Now, another thing someone asked me, he kept seeing my Punisher statue in the background. Now, you know, I got a lot of memorabilia. A lot. I got my whole closet's filled with it. I just haven't put it all up. And one of these days, when I do move, which is very soon, I'm going to be showing y'all all my cool memorabilia. I'm an Aliens and Predators fan. And I'm sure a lot of y'all don't really care, but I do. And also this one guy, he's asked me, I think his name's Mr. Merrick. Go ahead. He wanted me to keep showing my Punisher statue that I have in the background a lot. So let me get it for you. I got this sitting on top of it. My kid bought this for me at the library when they had a little school fair. #1 dad, I love her. Stuff like that, man, that makes life. Anyway, this is the Punisher statue, man. If y'all haven't seen the new Punisher on Netflix, it's got the guy from Walking Dead, Shane from Walking Dead. He's an amazing actor. The show's amazing. I love it. Check it out. Yeah, you got the AR or 50 cal, something on that jank. But yeah, tight statue, man. I love the Punisher. If you can't tell, you know, I love the Punisher. I love all the comic books. And I think the main reason why I like the Punisher is because my brother had a Punisher magazine growing up, and I used to always go through my brother's stuff when they weren't looking. And this the first Punisher magazine I ever seen, I think was the very first time I've ever seen a nude woman. Oh my goodness. I mean, it was graphic, and the Punisher magazine, comic book, I just was in love after that, man. I don't know if it was because of the nude woman or the skull, the awesome Punisher skull. I love the Punisher skull. It's a great emblem. A lot of military use it as well. And I just love it, man. It's really a cool but simple logo or picture, and I got it tattooed on me. I absolutely adore it. Anyways, I just want to thank everyone who has been subscribing lately, all the newcomers to the Lockdown 23-in-1 channel. I hope you stay around for quite a while, because I surely will. And everyone that's already been subscribed and followed me for a long time, I love every last one of y'all, man. I really do enjoy the support and seeing people's feedback on my videos. So until next time, I want to thank you once again for tuning in with me today on Lockdown 23-in-1. Death I Bring. Boah!